Caesar keys. Hello, how's everybody doing tonight? We're getting excited. We're almost ready to go. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. Everybody crowd in, man. Move in, move in. Spread in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Caesar, where'd you get off to? Caesar. And these businesses are all going to be from a different era. They're either really start up new, fresh, or they've been in the market for 2, 3, 4 years, and they're now looking for money. So really, at the end of the day, it's all about a business looking for something. It could be resources, money, and whatnot. So that's kind of where we're coming from. So 10-minute pitch, 1 minute from each judge, and then from there, it's 5 minutes of Q&A. If you're going to ask a question, we would love you to grab a mic because we are filming this live. And you can go to opn.ninja/pitchit. That's a sign up, but there's also a live feed, so you can tweet that out, send it. And just because of the tweeting part, here's the details hidden behind me, but it is hashtag is Pitchit TO, so you guys can use that. And again, say who you are and the business you're from, so that everybody will know who you are. And it helps when you guys are networking after as well. And I have to do a big shout out to the Seneca people, because there's a whole crew of Seneca College people here tonight. So they're taking it all in too. So they're all going to be entrepreneurs. They don't know it yet, but they're working on it. So for the next steps, I guess we can just start jumping in and get into the presentations. And when we do the first rounds, we're going to let the judges say who they are, what they are. Actually, we want to do that right now. Why don't you guys come up and say 30 seconds of who you are and what you do, so everybody gets a little bit more about you guys. Jonathan, why don't you start?
How's it going, everyone? My name is Jonathan Holland, founder and CEO of a company called Curex. We're a fintech-based business that helps businesses send money to any country from any laptop for up to 5 times cheaper than using a PayPal or a bank. So we're helping bring the money back to the small business owners, and that's the company that I founded. And Jeff just thought I would be important enough to be a judge. So thank you for having me.
Hi everyone, Fernando Garcia. I'm actually not an entrepreneur. I'm probably the farthest away you can be from an entrepreneur. I'm the lawyer and I'm in charge of government affairs for Nissan Canada. So the car company, I guess Nissan has some entrepreneurial component to it, but yeah, I'm just a lawyer and I do some government stuff. But hopefully I can bring a unique lawyer. I'll remember that. It's good. Yeah. So again, I'm just trying to bring a different perspective to this and looking forward to it. It's fun. Thank you. Woo.
I'm sure. I'm Robin Strachan. I'm from Symbol. We're upstairs. We have a business enablement firm. So what we do is we help startups jumpstart their sales and marketing. So if you don't get financing, we help companies show how they can get revenue and finance themselves. Thank you.
Awesome. So we got a great collection of people here. So all right, let's start off. So our first group of people that are going to be coming up. I can't see that far apparently. So the first group is going to be Rookie. Yeah.
Yes. I'll just say next slide. All right. All right. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Let's go. All right. Just tell me this PowerPoint. All right. My name is Simon, and I'm one of 4 co-founders on a company called Rookie. Next slide. And we make it just ludicrously easy for any athletic trainer to start an online training business. So we've been at this now for about 6.5 months. We have around 270 paying customers. And we really. Okay. A second. Yes. There we go. All right. And we really got that way by just, first of all, being very interested in the subject, and then talking to about 30 different trainers at different times, and just validating every step of the process with them. And what we found is they have 4 huge problems in their business today that prevents them from growing to the level that they want to grow at. Next one. So all these are very closely correlated, but the biggest one is that if you're a personal trainer, if you're an athletic trainer, you really only have access to people that are in your area. So all of us have caps on our customers, but they have a very low cap. So let's say you're a personal trainer that lives in a small town in New Brunswick, you have very few customers that you can actually work with. The second thing as well is that you probably don't own your gym, so you have to partner with a gym that gouges profits out of you. And associated with that is the fact that you're pretty much at their mercy, because if they don't want you to come to the gym at a certain time, and that's when other people, your clients, want to come train, you've just lost some sales. I'm not one for excuses, but that, as an entrepreneur, that really, really sucks. So a lot of these guys, and I've talked to some of you guys in the room about this before, confirm this for me, like, you have to get a second job if you're going to be a trainer. And that sucks because most of the time you are a solo entrepreneur, right? And having a part-time job and running this business it's just not great for a business. So the reason I love working with these folks is that they're all entrepreneurs and they're solving their own problems, even though these have been looked as necessary evils of the business. They've all trying to find a way around it. And what you see a lot of these folks doing, 77% of online coaching businesses, of coaching businesses that have started in the last 2 years, all have online coaching at the forefront of what they offer. And that's because they're not bound by the gyms anymore. They can do the training from their own houses, and they can just service a whole lot more people. That does come with its own set of challenges. What we've seen is that they get, on average, 8 times more leads to their businesses, but their dollars per hour goes down because they're fiddling with video software. They're fiddling with just the day-to-day business of trying to deal with people that they've never met before, and it's a huge pain. So Rookie, what we do, it's not rocket science, we just essentially streamline that entire process for the athletes and for the coaches themselves. Next slide. All right, so I'm going to walk you through what the Rookie flow looks like for these trainers and for these athletes. And to do that, I'm going to just profile one of our power users. She's doing incredibly well on this. Courtney is tricky. She's from Hamilton, and she's a pretty good test subject. So next slide. And we like her because she wears shirts that says "Do it for the burgers." And if that's not someone you want to get trained by, I'm sorry for you. So next one. All right. So the first thing we do is that if you want to start a business and you don't have a website, we build that for you right away. Right. So within 10 seconds, within 10 minutes of starting up with Rookie, give yourself your own website, which you probably didn't have before. If you did have a website, we integrate with your website, and it connects directly with your app and with the student app. So if someone signs up to your website, they directly get added to your Rookie profile, and at that point you can start coaching them right away. And that's been extremely helpful. I think the stat is something like 80% of everyone who signed up on Rookie so far, who's a paying customer, has made money through Rookie within the first 48 hours of starting. Especially for someone like Courtney, who's got something like 20,000 followers on Twitter and on Instagram. She gets this link that she can now share with people. She posts it on Twitter, she posts it on Instagram. Hey guys, maybe some of you guys have tried to work with me before, you haven't been able to. Here's a link, and now a percentage of those people automatically get added to a platform, and she can start working with them right away. So this is really our bread and butter. What really grinds these guys' gears is the fact that they have to deal with video sharing software. I should probably go over what online training does. So essentially, Jeffrey, if you were to train me, you would send me an invite, and we would start working together, but we would build a workout together, and then every week we would check in together. You can see my improvements and all that stuff. So that's what online training is. And the biggest thing that these guys have a hard time with is this video sharing stuff. It's a pain. They have to tell these clients to install Dropbox, which they've never done before, because sharing big online video files is a huge pain in the ass. And for the athlete too, right? That really sucks. So that's all done in the app, and it takes something that takes them usually an hour, takes them about 10 minutes to do. This is my favorite screen. It's these trainers seeing themselves just get paid. So you wouldn't think it, but a lot of people actually sketch out on these trainers when they've never met them before. It's different if you work with people every single week, but if you don't, it's easy for people to just go off the map. So what we do is we integrate with bank accounts, we integrate with Visa cards. So as a trainer gets more customers, they just get paid right away. And through this platform right here, they can just see improvements of all these different guys, so it's of their clients, so it's much easier that way than through just Excel spreadsheets. So this is our MVP, and what has us the most excited is just how huge this market is, right? And we had no idea it was that big. Next one. So the personal training market is around $9 billion, and of course we only have a percentage of that, but this is our MVP, is the first thing we're doing, and the fact that we have something around 270 paying customers 6 months after starting this is definitely a step in the right direction. But what has us even more excited are just the other adjacent markets that we have with this. So the athletic coaching market is another big one, $8 billion, and that's more sports specific. So it's I want my jump shot to be better because I'm a basketball player, right? So it's training with that kind of stuff. And then the emerging online training, we really have no idea, but what I know is that a huge percentage of people who've started these businesses in the last 2 years have online training as one of the biggest offerings. So right now we have 23 coaches paying us, and that's all done in 6 months, and on average they have around 10 different athletes. So that for attraction, that's what we have right now. And the payment model is actually pretty simple. So it's a Shopify model, so they pay a monthly platform fee, and then we take a cut off of all the in-app transactions. I'm extremely biased, but I think this is a very stellar team. So Sam at the bottom left has sold the company before when she was 22 in this industry. Raf and James teach coding. They pretty much built the curriculum for Lighthouse Labs, which is this area, this place in Toronto, people learn how to code. So they built their curriculum for all of Canada. And as for myself, I used to play for the Canadian junior national team for basketball back in the day in high school. And I put myself through school with my own businesses. So this is very near and dear to my heart. The fact that I trained out in New Brunswick, no coaching whatsoever where I grew up. So I really would have loved to have this app I can pick up and connect with an NBA coach. I would have told mom and dad, forget Christmas, forget my birthday. This is what I want, and that's actually what we're seeing right now, which is really, really cool. These slides always make me cringe because of course your company's always up and to the right, but where we really differentiate ourselves from the other companies that are out there right now is the fact that we don't just help you do your business a bit faster, a bit better. We're actually turning what these guys have been doing on its own head. So not only do we help you attract new clients, which pretty much no one else does, but we actually help you train more people. So your dollars per hour as a trainer just goes through the roof when you start using Rookie. And so far so good. And the next one. So that's it for me. I'm shocked that I'm not over time. That's fantastic. Yep.
Okay, judges.
One of the things we were supposed to be debating them on is how we handle all the questions, so we can speak before. We can't.
All right, I have a question.
We can wait and do the questions if you like. I'm all right with that. Yeah, why not? Okay, so question, fire away.
So what's your ask? Feedback. So we're 4 founders full-time, all grown through revenue. I don't want to raise money. I think if I can build a business, I've done this both ways. I've tried to raise money for different businesses. I don't want to do it. I actually don't think that VCs add that much value unless they know your industry very well. So my ask is for feedback and just what do you guys think about this? But if I can, I don't want to raise money.
Okay, any other questions in the audience?
So this is a two-sided market. How are you advertising to both sides? Or what's your cost per acquisition on the athletes and
Cost per acquisition is really early.
Cost per acquisition is really early. And like lifetime value is very early. My honest answer is I don't know. How we've been marketing this so far has been through personal connections. Pretty spoiled that I played for Team Canada, so I can go to a lot of these folks who've trained me back in the day and just ask them to do me a solid and get on there. At the end of the day, though, it's a different story to get them to pay, right? So to answer your question, personal connections and referrals.
Jeffrey.
follow-up question to that? So how are you going to scale your business?
So in terms of scaling, I think it's really going to the big influencers. So, for example, the guy who did P90X, if he could start using this, it'd be a pretty big deal. If we could get some famous trainers, Tim Grover, who used to train Michael Jordan, that's a pretty big deal. Of course, those guys, they all choose their own prices, right? So if I'm a trainer and I used to train Michael Jordan, I want to charge $5,000 a session. All the power to you. I know there's a dad and a mom somewhere who little Billy thinks he's going to make the NBA. Who's going to pay for that? I'm convinced of it. So to them, it's really going after those influencers and letting them share the platform for us. There's a million things we could do, but as far as first steps, this is what I see. This is what I see happening.
Anyone else? Okay, you guys are on.
Cool. So I completely understand the stage you're at with your company. You don't have a lot of data on the customer. And then you put like a market slide up, and so you don't actually know the size of the market yet. So you have to kind of figure that out. I'm worried that there might not be like a market as big as you think it is. So I know you got 23 people on there, your buddies, whatever. But what's the actual, like, where's the value come? Like, I would think that people pay for a trainer because they need some motivation, right? And I think that motivation would come, I'm guessing, from having that trainer beside you, you know, coaching you through it, pushing you to do those extra reps. So if I'm understanding correctly, you kind of just go work out alone, but you're able to record stuff and send it back to your trainer. So is it just because it's super low cost you're thinking it'll work, or what's your thoughts on that side?
So what we've seen so far is that trainers are a dime a dozen. What people want is they want to train with the best, and the best may not always be in their areas, right? So for me, if I'm training for my jump shot, for example, and I'm from Edmonton, New Brunswick, he's like the trainer, she's probably not there. So I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna look for who the best is, and they're probably not there.
So that makes perfect sense to me. So you're targeting more professional athletes is what you're trying to do here, or?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. Anyone who wants to get better at what they're doing. So for example, Courtney, her entire business is online, but she's a fitness trainer. So it's not necessarily professional sports. It's just people who need that, honestly, that extra kick in the butt, and they need to have check-ins with someone every week. They don't really care about training with someone on a day-to-day basis and being face-to-face with them. They just need to know that at the end of the day, there's someone at the end of the line who cares and who will hold them to that standard they're trying to set for themselves.
Yeah, so I can vibe with that. I mean, when I go to a gym, I'm not going to get trained by some guy who doesn't look like he even works out, right? I want to learn from Ronnie Coleman if I want to be a bodybuilder. So that makes sense to me. What do you want to do about the market size? Like, how are you going to determine what that is? What other players are in the actual industry for you to have some kind of data on who uses this stuff online?
So it's going to take a while because online training's only picked up in the last 24 months. But what we know is just the recency stuff. So personal training, that industry as a whole is gone up by 7% every single year, which is a huge number, assuming if you take into account just how big it is already. And out of everyone that we've surveyed so far, companies I've surveyed the past 2 years, online coaching isn't just something they offer, it's their main offering. And that number's in the 80s, like 80% of them. So it's here to say, right? The problems are big enough that everyone's trying this. They just don't have this streamlined solution to actually make it viable.
Good luck, man. It's awesome.
So on my side, the elevator pitch is supposed to give somebody a good understanding of what the product is, what the issues that you're rectifying, and how it's going to help. And I totally didn't. I didn't understand if it was somebody filming and watching you do it, something you were filming and sending it to them, and then you analyzed it and told you what you need to improve, or if somebody was actually scheduling it through this to determine what lowest cost and what time I can schedule it. So I think that piece, if we can sort of define it and maybe explain it a bit better on the elevator pitch. Not a lot of time, I know, but I think that would be
Maybe that's why it was so short, because I skipped like 3 slides.
yeah, that piece, and again, I think it's the same question of where you guys at and what you're asking for. I think that was critical as well in terms of the audience and maybe where you are in your development. What I liked is obviously you had the influencer. Again, not the person training Michael Jordan, but you still had somebody with 20,000 hits, and I think that's important. That person has a little bit of sway, a little bit of influence over the audience, over the area.
We have one guy who trains NHL players, and
That
he's in Toronto, and he doesn't have to travel to St. Louis anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He does it all through it.
So I think that helps, and the more you can develop that sort of network, I think that's going to be critical for you. And also the team strength, having people in there done this before, we've set up a company, understand how you get idea to action. I think that's critical as well. So I think it's a good stuff.
Thank you. We sort of have a scorecard here that they want us to rate you on, and the first one was your startup name, Rookie. I felt that was a very good name. It's an easy mouthful, and it's very relevant to what you do.
Thanks.
The next thing, the elevator pitch. I don't have my comment on that. One of the things I really enjoyed about your pitch was that you made it personal, and you talked about your history and your involvement. Oh, I'm sorry. So I really enjoyed that personal aspect that you introduced in a sense. The financial details, the way, you're not asking for money, you want to fund this yourself. You actually didn't do that in the pitch, and someone from the audience had to actually question you about that. I think that's a very important part of what you're doing, so you should bring that forward as well. Okay? Nick, I'm good there? Thank you.
That was awesome. I'm going to throw that one down. Thank you very much. That was great, man. Everybody, give me a hand. Some great feedback from all sides and some good questions. So I think that was awesome. Thank you. All right, so the next group that we're going to have up is Metaverse.
Tim, is there sand in there?
So everybody, that's Dan's daughter right there.
She's got her own business, so she's gonna come on back afterwards.
Future entrepreneur right there. We on? We ready? All right. Hey everybody, how you doing? Come on, how's everybody doing? All right. My name's Alan.
Is Seneca in the house?
Seneca! We're gonna be looking for people to hire, so yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, it's all the hands go up. My name is Alan, and this is my partner Dan. We started a company called Metaverse a little under a year ago, and we're a virtual reality agency. And the word Metaverse, just to kind of give you some context, is the world you're in when you're in virtual reality. So it's kind of like calling your company the internet when you started the internet. So it's a bit of a ballsy name, but we figured we could pull it off. So that's what we chose, and that's why we chose it. We do business solutions for enterprise clients. So I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to start with a video. So if you can't see it, I'm going to move this banner here. So this is the conference we did for HBO Canada. You can keep the music playing. Come on, keep it going. Oh yeah, keep the music playing. Oh yeah. So this is a conference we did for HBO Canada. It's just an example of one of the things we've done. This was just recent, that's why we were putting it up.
What do you want to do?
How was it? It's amazing. I really loved it. You should try it. It's really, really fun. You're like in a new world. You're trying to really different
There you go. Okay, so can I ask, how many people in the room have actually tried the new generation of virtual reality in any form? Okay, that's actually quite a lot. I'd say this is a pretty entrepreneurial crowd, a pretty techie crowd, so we're going to have more people in this room than in most rooms. If we just go to the next slide. Try. Okay. It's like we're Well, anyway, the virtual reality industry, the slide that we are about to show is talking about how fast the industry is growing right now. We would consider that 2007 is kind of year one, whereas 2016 was year zero. Last year, all of the major companies, basically except for Apple, came out with their own virtual reality products. Samsung, Sony, Google, Facebook by buying Oculus, and the HTC Vive was what you saw in that video. A lot of the analysts for the industry are estimating between 120 to 150 billion dollar global value of the augmented and virtual reality industry by 2020. That's going to be 142% compound growth over the next 5 years, so it really is going to be exponential growth. And we're going to be getting up to 171 million users, active users by 2018, and going pretty far out to the 2030s. City Financial has actually estimated that the industry could be worth over $1 trillion because of virtual commerce becoming the successor to e-commerce.
All right, so our vision for Metaverse is to become the trusted brand and the world-leading authority on virtual and augmented reality for enterprise and for business. So that's our vision, and we're pretty on track for that. I'm not going to lie. A year ago, we started this, and already we've spoken at all the major conferences in Canada. We're speaking at the CVR conference, which is the Canadian Virtual Reality in Vancouver.
Consumer virtual reality.
Consumer Virtual Reality in Vancouver. We're speaking at VRLA, which is one of the biggest VR conferences in Los Angeles. And what's the other one?
Augmented World Expo.
Augmented World Expo. We just finished PDAC, which is, anybody know what PDAC is? The mining conference? Yeah, woo! Yes, mining, let's dig for it. So we spoke there, and we actually were interviewed on BNN and TheStreet.com and a bunch of other things. So it was really, really amazing, the media that we're getting, and we're actually establishing ourselves as the world leaders for this. So the vision's coming true, everybody.
So the opportunity, when I asked everybody if they've actually used virtual or augmented reality yet, most people have not, and that includes the people who make marketing and IT decisions for a lot of companies. And if you could imagine going into a lot of companies 10, 12 years ago talking about mobile strategy, most of them would have looked at you as if you're crazy. Virtual and augmented reality are actually growing as platforms at a faster rate of adoption than mobile did in the early days. And we're already seeing a lot of applications, everything from really realistic training simulations, that was one of the things we were talking about in the mining industry, to a lot of marketing and branded activations at this point. But as the consumer adoption grows to the point where everybody will eventually have a phone that is a high-powered virtual reality device, and augmented reality as well, you're going to see a lot more applications as the market expands.
So the problem that we found is that brands are now faced with a new communication medium. We had the internet come along, and then there was agencies that specialized in bringing people websites. There was people charging thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to put together a website. Then we had digital. Okay, we're gonna be a social media agency, and we had social media agencies come on board and charge hundreds of thousands of dollars. And Dan was the head of social media for Bell Canada prior to being in Metaverse, so we know a little bit about that as well. And the future communication platform that we face is virtual and augmented reality. So as a specialized VR AR agency, we're positioning ourselves to be the authority for these brands. And it's really, really interesting because what we're doing now is we're doing a lot of client work, and it's giving us the ability to understand what clients want. What do brands need? And what we're doing in the back end is we're building an IP strategy where we build it for them, but we own and retain the IP. So, for example, we built a 360-degree photo booth for Samsung. It's a giant cube. It was a giant dome at the time. And inside is a green screen room. You take a picture with their camera, and now you can Photoshop yourself into space or underwater or on the moon or whatever you want to do and see yourself in virtual reality right away. So we built that for Samsung. They deployed it. We deployed it for Chorus as well with Sony's launch of Timeless, which it's actually been nominated for 3 awards. So hopefully we win a couple of those.
The photo booth, not the show.
It's nice. And so our strategy of kind of listening to clients, what they want, and then building it for them and retaining the IP, that's our strategy long term.
And so our business model,
we are an agency. So right now we've kept our company very lean and to the point where we actually outsource a lot of our technical development, which allows us to scale to take on very large projects and very small projects and get that breadth of knowledge. But really our ultimate goal is to become an agency of record where we're kept on retainer at a point where companies actually require a VR agency of record. We'd say that some already do. Most companies don't at this point, but we're building towards that.
Most of the stuff we're starting now is project-based, and every client that we speak with knows that our ultimate goal is to become their VR agency of record. And having that conversation right up front allows them to envision how they might need us in the future, which is really, really a great strategy. Our revenue model is to use the agency model to generate cash flow while we build the back-end systems, as well as build our IP portfolio. So right now we've got 2 patents we've applied for. We'll be building out a couple more awesome things in 2017. So more to come for that. And then obviously our goal is to make products, not create more work for ourselves by doing all these projects. So by doing the projects, it's telling us what clients want so we can build products and platforms.
And we generally won't start building something until we have a signed contract from a client, which
show me the money
has worked out really well so far.
So my partner Dan, he's a recovering lawyer. He's also decided to go back to school after that because who wants to do law except for that guy? He doesn't even want to do law. He went back and did his MBA and became the head of social media for Bell Canada. And now, thankfully, he's my partner and we get to do this together every day. It's pretty awesome.
And Alan was the founder and inventor of a amazing technology. It was a big touchscreen DJ controller that was used by international DJs around the world. Alan is actually a DJ himself, also a recovering DJ, as I'm a recovering lawyer, and has been the founder of a few 3 companies at this point, and has had exits from all 3 of them. So, yeah.
Some of our strategic advisors. Does anybody know who Robert Scoble is? There's one. Couple people. If you don't know who Robert Scoble is, look him up. He's a preeminent tech blogger. He used to work for Rackspace. Before that, he was with Microsoft. Now he's with Upload VR. And he just wrote the book, The Fourth Transformation, which is a book about virtual and augmented reality and the power of what it's going to come. Our second advisor is Brett Chenner from Mass Minority. He was the former CEO of Saatchi and Saatchi Canada. So.
And then just to quickly review our IP, we mentioned the 360 photo booth. Part of that was patented, as well as this light source that makes the photo booth possible. We're researching a 360 spherical printer that will allow us to actually print those 360 photos onto balls. So imagine
for your Christmas tree.
Christmas ornaments, right? Customize. And then a few other platforms that will become even more scalable. We're running out of time here. So. Okay.
So we did really well last year. We did, with our first year, we did a little over $500,000. We haven't rounded out the full year yet. We estimate we're going to hit about 800,000. Next year, our projected is about 3 million. And we have a very healthy margins on everything. We're actually looking to raise 250,000 actually from a debt instrument called a SAFE, which is short form for simple agreement for future equity. And what that means is basically it's a convertible debt without an interest rate. So basically it's going to convert anyway at a future date, and we're offering 250,000 at a 15% discount at a cap of 10 million, which means if you invest now with us, and when we go to raise the next round at a 10 million valuation, you'll get a 15% discount on that, on your money that rolls into it. So that's that, and you guys can reach us. Everything is at Metaverse, METAVRSE. You get that? Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was good. You were only a minute, 45 seconds over, so we let it slide, but decided to tell everybody so they don't think I'm not timekeeping. Okay, so let's go into some questions. Who has a question in the audience?
How will you retain IP if you're contracting out the actual development?
So the question is, how are we going to retain IP if we're contracting out to the development? So, good lawyers is the answer. So we have a very good contract lawyer on staff, and they make sure that in our contracts we own the IP. And clients who don't like that can pay a premium and have it exclusive to them, but most of what we do, we own the IP. Most clients don't care as long as they're the first in the world. They don't care to be second. They want to be first, and that's it. But a lot of the stuff we're building in the back end is really useful tools. We built a retail platform so that it, and long story short, it takes the virtual reality headset and makes it retail friendly so people can't mess around and mess with it and get into Windows or Android. Any other questions? Yep.
What about the developer? Wouldn't they want to keep their...
The developers don't get anything. They get paid. And they also sign another contract that says they get nothing. They don't even get recognition. Unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. They get paid.
I mean, there are some projects that we work on where we are white labeling, and there are some projects where we're both. There are multiple brands on the name of it. It just depends on the project.
I'm just wondering, even if you have it in legal form, how do you then retain it in actual intellectual form? As in, how do you really use that intellectual property if you don't know, if you didn't develop it yourself, you don't have that development in-house?
We have a team of developers in-house that vet all of this. So rather than scale our development team, we just kept it really tight. We vet everything, make sure that all the code is tight, and we work with a really, really good group of developers all over the world, and we've been very, very lucky to have amazing developers everywhere. So.
Funny question. How come you say it takes 4 seconds to load if you have a team of developers working on it?
4 seconds to load what?
The website.
Huh?
The website takes 4 seconds.
Our website does take a long time to load, and we're working on it. I know, it's a pain in the ass. Thanks for telling me. No. You want to fix our
Sounds
website?
good.
Are you looking for a summer internship? We don't pay. Perfect. Okay, done. Sold. See me after.
Anybody else?
I like this guy. Yes. What are we going to do with the 250K?
So the 250K is basically right now.
Oh, come on. You ruined it. I was just going to. Anyway,
No,
there's
go
kids
ahead.
in the crowd. Never mind.
Right now, we've got a lot of clients who like to take a long time to pay us. Especially when we're dealing with very large companies like the Bell Medias and Whirlpool and companies like that we've worked with. They've got 90-day, 120-day payment terms. So really, just to keep our operations going, we need a bit of a buffer because of the fact that we are going on a project-to-project basis, and we don't have these retainers in place right now. But as that goes forward, we don't anticipate actually having to take on any more money unless we really want to scale up, and at that point we would do a Series A. But it's not in the immediate plans at this point.
And do you have an exit with this, or is this something you plan to build up as an agency, continue to run it, and then give out distributions to those who are the safe holders?
So there is an exit strategy. Virtual reality is about to, it's taking off, as many of you see it in the media, but really where we see this going in 2020, this is going to peak at a massive, massive amount of, everybody's going to have VR. As soon as Apple enters the market, things are going to get crazy. And we've got Magic Leap coming on board. By the time 2020 rolls around, virtual and augmented reality will be a pair of glasses that everybody has. And there's also some other factors. There's a movie called Ready Player One that's coming out, which will, again, it's all about virtual reality, and it's a Steven Spielberg movie, so that's going to really kind of create this fever pitch. And our goal is to sell our company, the number's 100 million, by 2020, and the goal is to sell it to another bigger agency and kind of fold all our IP underneath that. Yeah. Anybody else?
Okay, judges.
Thanks, guys. I mean, it's obviously a great market and very interesting. So, Alan, you've had a few exits and stuff, right? So you've been through raising capital, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay, so what investor is going to get out of bed for 250K in the safe? I mean, the safe, I understand finance very well, so I get what you're investing in. Who would do it for 250K, especially with a cap of 10 million and what's
we're not going after VC money. We're going after angels.
Right?
No, we're going after angels. We're self-funded anyway, so we've got cash flow coming in. We've got clients. This is just literally a buffer, and we had to pick a number for this event, so.
Okay.
We picked the number.
Get that. Okay.
So what are we going to say?
And then to your strategy. So you're essentially becoming the marketing firm that's going to come in and sell to all the big brands and say, hey, we've been doing this for this long. You don't know what you're doing. You're the incumbent guys that aren't used to this type of stuff. That's your strategy for this. Yeah.
So once we lock up a couple of larger brands, which we're in negotiations right now with several large brands to be their AR, VR agency of record. Once you lock a couple of those up, you become a really valuable target for these companies.
Sure.
And having the network and connections that we have, we can really leverage that.
And it wasn't clear. Have you guys landed one yet, or no? Or this
No,
is
we're still
no,
working
you're
on
still
it.
working on
Yeah.
it. Okay.
They're in various stages of me beating it into them.
Well, yeah, it's brand new. It's something that's new.
You
so
need
how
an
are they
agency
gonna
for
know
something you
that's,
have never even tried.
Yeah.
And I'll just add that the tech companies like Samsung and HTC, they love us because they know that the consumer market is going to take a little while to take off, but right now they know that businesses actually do have the budgets to invest in it. So HTC, for example, has an entire enterprise division, and there aren't a lot of companies like us working in the space right now. So, for example, we were one of the only companies at this mining conference just a couple of weeks ago with 22,000 professionals from around the world, and they were just, everybody was excited about it. So our phone has been ringing off the hook since that conference, for example.
And like, it's tough to critique, right? Because it's such an open market. It's growing massively quick. But what are your thoughts on Facebook? I mean, if everybody's used to using Facebook, they're getting into the market, wouldn't they just continue to use Facebook for their advertising? Okay.
Sure. Well, so Facebook invested in Oculus, and you might ask, why would a company like Facebook buy a virtual reality company?
No, I know why they would. That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
What my question is, why wouldn't the people that are already buying Facebook ads just use Facebook when they come up with strategies?
Even the people at Facebook don't know what's going on in virtual reality. We went and did a demo at their office.
Okay.
And we showed their team here in Toronto virtual reality for the first time. So it's a big company, and virtual reality is a very small speck in their scope. Facebook introduced 360 videos and stuff, and that's the first step, but they're really early stage still.
Essentially, Mark Zuckerberg's
Okay.
pet project.
Yeah.
Really?
So it's a $3 billion pet project.
Yeah, but he's a smart guy. I wouldn't think it's his pet project. He's going in for the massive 2 point whatever trillion you just threw up on the screen. But anyways, I get it. Good job, guys.
Yeah.
I just attended the car show in Toronto, and Mazda had it. We had it. Infinity. We had that. You got to sit down. They even had the ventilators sort of blowing the wind through your hair as you were pretending to drive. So I think there's a market. There's two elements of it. Obviously the fun, and then there's the business side, training. I think huge potential there in that piece of it. I guess my only concern would be the patents. I mean, when you get to a certain level, patents are worth their weight in gold. And patents.
Yeah,
the patents. So once you get to that point, a lot of the big boys, I'm nervous that they're not going to be willing to give you that patent on some of these items and some of these functions. So I think it's good to have the dual perspective of, we'll do it for you for a higher price, or we do that. So I think that's good. Strategic advisor is great. Having the people who know the business and who have an idea of this, I think is critical. And again, good audience interaction in terms of the milestones and the elevator pitch. I think it's good. The ask, we dealt with that. So hard to critique. It's just an issue of, like you said, it's very fluid right now, and it's good that you're putting you're starting the game, and you see where it goes from that. But congratulations. It's good.
Thank you. Okay. Startup name, Metaverse, the all-encompassing universe. Great name, very futuristic. You two speak very well. You've got really good energy. The back and forth between the two of you is you do it very well. Yeah, high five.
I missed the high five.
My point 3, you need to define what you do better. You said we do services for enterprise customers. Like, what does that mean? And I know that
You're
later.
absolutely right.
Well, later
Absolutely.
you go. Yeah, later you go into, it was unclear whether you were an agency or a product company, and it was 5 minutes into the pitch before you explained what that was. It might be better to say something like, we deliver AR, VR projects with companies that do, describe what they do, and provide maybe an example of some of the type of work you do, like training videos, virtual tours. Actually describe what you actually do at the front, so people aren't trying to figure out what you do. Okay?
Great.
That's a great piece of advice. Thank you. Wonderful.
Oh, sorry.
Awesome. All right, that's good. Number 2, that was brilliant. I like guys.
Which one do you want?
This one probably is better.
I'm gonna hold it.
You can hold it.
Oh, I'm gonna kind of sing karaoke.
Well, they're getting us set up. Where are our dog owners at in the crowd here?
All right, that's a good number. And so all of you that are dog owners, how many of you feel the dog is part of your family? Your kids. Yeah, so you're part of 35 million people in North America, something to keep in the back of your mind. So just getting ourselves set up here. My name is Gail Nudell. I'm the founder and top dog at a company called Bark and Yap. And we are the connected community for tech-savvy dog owners. And, oh, thank you. Appreciate that. And, what's my forward and backward here? Okay, there we go. Perfect. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of a story. This relates to something that happened about 10 years ago for myself and my lovely wife who's sitting over here and our 2 pup kids. And we moved about 15 kilometers we're outside of the city. We moved about 15 kilometers. And we felt that we would be able to continue using our veterinarian and be able to go to the same places that we always went to. But we just found that it just became inconvenient. It was very difficult to start driving 20 minutes to go to get your vet or if they had an emergency or something else going on. And so we had to go through and start finding new providers for us. And that was, back before we had these things. And so it was very difficult to kind of find who you could have and who you could service for your dogs and things like that. And then fast forward, I'm in the end of my career, my corporate career. As you can tell, I'm a little bit older, and I'm on an assignment in Shanghai. My wife's back at home with our new puppy, and so we have to find new trainers. But then we had a really unfortunate situation where our dog got attacked in a park, and it was very traumatizing for both the dog and my wife, and we had to retrain both of them. So we had to find someone who could help them get over those problems, and that's really when we started to discover that there was real problems out there for dog owners to be able to find the resources that they could really trust, that were vetted by the community, and a way that they could understand what were really good resources for them. And now as become more mobile, people are traveling with their dogs all the time, and so they're looking for these resources as they move around. So if they're heading from around the city, they might need to find some, whether it was a groomer or something else. They want to find the best groomers for their dogs. There's this whole humanization that's going on where people really feel that their dogs are now part of their family. They're becoming their kids. So when I came out of the corporate world, I really wanted to try to solve this problem. We started to dig into it, and my co-founder, Glenn, over here. And as we started to go through this, we started to realize that there's also a huge problem on the other side of the model. And that's all the small businesses that run this. It's 94% of the businesses that support this marketplace have less than 4 employees. And the ability to get into this market is a very, very low wall to get in. And so there's a ton of competition out there. But the other is that you can get into this business without a lot of skills. And so a lot of the people, they have skills in the dog area, but they don't have the technical skills. They don't understand how to do their digital marketing. They don't really understand. They'll set up an Instagram account, but then they may let that lag for a bit. They might set up a Facebook account. So they don't really have an understanding of how to harness all of those things around the digital marketing side. And then on top of that, we've got the customers out there that are all now starting to move into tech. They're all starting to use their phones to find what they want for resources. So introducing Bark and Yap. We came up with the concept as a marketplace solution to bring together dog owners with the businesses. And so it's a place for the tech-savvy dog owners to be able to locate, research, and review anything related to dogs, but at the same time then to be able to connect and share that information with each other in basically a virtual dog park. And it's really designed around the dog. On the business side, it's an aggregation model. We bring together all the businesses under one roof, so the dog owners can find them much more easily. But then we allow them to be able to connect more into the community, to be able to associate with the dog owners on a better level, and then also be able to measure the amount of business that they're getting from a digital perspective. Excuse me. And all of that is to really to help them get a better ROI on their marketing dollars. So our vision with this is really to become the most trusted source for dog owners, to be able to find everything that they need for their dogs. And so we're going to initially do that by building up the community, and we do that through aggregating the businesses and bringing the owners together. And then the future potential for us to really build out a solid marketplace where we will start to be able to transact within that model around the businesses, then also to be able to provide SaaS solutions. So software as a service. These businesses really don't have platforms. Most of them are using a spreadsheet. They're using their calendar on their phones. They really don't have the technology, and they can't afford to pay for a bigger platform. So we want to look at, are there very specific tools for this marketplace that we can build and run out to them at $5 and $10 a month, which is much more into their appetite. Excuse me. And then it's the big data side for the manufacturers to start to amalgamate that information of the dog owners at the level of neighborhood down to dog breed, and really start to build up that entire big data that they're missing today at the manufacturer level. And then also for the retailers to get much more in-depth customer data. So how does it work? It's all about the dogs. So the dog is the account holder. The dog, you as an owner create an account for your dog. So all you people that see pictures of your friends somewhere and they always have a dog in their account, we finally created the platform for them to be able to have their dogs on the account. So the dogs create their account. They then can start to get their news feeds in there. Excuse me, they can then start to connect with other dogs. So now you can start to do it by breed or friends of yours, connect with them. We have a mapping component, so now you can find everything around you. And for the businesses themselves, they can start to dig in and start to see who's reviewing those businesses. On the business side, we've tried to create a very, very lean platform because the business, again, are not very tech savvy. So we've gone through and we've data scraped already. We have over 7,000 businesses on our platform. And so we allow them to come in and to be able to locate their business very quickly by doing a quick search. From there, they are able to mark the business and take ownership of it. If they can't find their business there, it's one click for them, and it's two very quick steps for them to be able to put their business into our database. Excuse me. They then can add various elements to their business. They're now completely into our platform, and they're available on both our web and our mobile platform. So we're a freemium service model. So we have a very low paywall for businesses to get in. It's $100 per year for a subscription level. That then allows them to be able to enhance their listing, get notifications and get metrics, and it also then gives them access to all these pay-per-use elements. So whether it's advertising, events, sponsorship, and then we have recurring revenue models with the SaaS that we'll be building out. And on the manufacturer side, they don't have to join. They just get the opportunity to participate in advertising, events, sponsorships, and big data. So we're looking at both the service retail providers, this is online and offline, as well as the manufacturer side. So from a marketplace, as I mentioned before, it's 35 million people. So that really is our product available market, are the tech-savvy dog owners. But the actual total marketplace is close to 90 million dog owners in North America that this could potentially play with. But we really want to focus on those 35 million. From the business side, which is really our customers. This is where our bread and butter, this is where we get paid. In North America, we're talking about the manufacturers, the retailers, the groomers, dog walkers. So we're very specific to the entire market, not just focused on, say, a pet sitting type of platform. And we have over 200,000 businesses growing at 5% per year. And on the right-hand side really is the digital advertising side. It's growing at 12% per year. So it's a very fast and lucrative growing market. So from a traction perspective, we launched in May of last year. We've been doing, this was on our web platform. We've been doing a bunch of monthly events within the community. So we've had those with the Toronto Humane Society, SPCA. We've participated in the Pet Expo, and then a company called Spa Boutique, which is down in Liberty Village, a localized organization. So we're testing different theories and different ways that we can get into the marketplace. We just launched a program with Shelters and Rescues. We piloted that with a company called Save Our Scruff. They do about 500 rehomes a year, and it's basically a pay model. We donate $1 back to the charity if that person joins, if the adopter joins into Barking App. So it's a way that we can give back and build into the charity model. And then we're also doing a pilot in Columbus, Ohio right now, so that we can sort of see what's the difference between the Canadian market and the US market. So, and then we just recently, we're in a beta right now on our mobile app as well. So from the accounts perspective, we've been growing pretty nicely through the year. We're close to 800 dog owners currently in our model that are using the product. And on the business side, we have, latest counts, 120 businesses that have actually signed on. So we have 7,000 in the model, but these are the businesses who've actually started to activate, but we do not have a pay model yet. We haven't put e-commerce in, so this is really to test and allow these guys to go and use the product. So we really are focused right now on awareness. We're trying to build awareness for the market, what we have as a product. So we're using 4 pillars on that to build out and build that brand awareness for what Barking App is. And then from a channel strategy, we really break it up into the SMB retailers and service providers versus the franchised retailers and the manufacturers. And we really are trying to go for more of a low-touch model and high volume. And that really starts to, for us, builds into looking at the cost of customer acquisition. Very high to start off with, obviously, because we're looking at building volume. But the goal is to get down into our later years and getting of some really nice returns on the customer acquisition side. So from a competitive perspective, when we started building this out, we were the only ones in this marketplace doing the full service model. Bring Fido and Dog Vacay were in the market, but they're very specific to pet sitting and into hotels. And then on the 2 on the far right, Bark Happy and Pod In, have now come into the US, and they're in specific markets in the US. The overall projections, excuse me, is to become profitable in 2018, and for us to then get to break even back into early 2019, with some pretty high growth numbers as we build this thing out. Our investment currently, we've had family and friends. We have our OC Start Smart, built our mobile app off of that. We're now going to be looking out for some seed money and then heading off into the angel side. And really that's for us to start to grow out our marketplace, build the awareness in the market, and then start to get our full development team in order. And the team, myself, Glenn, who's over here, and then Dennis Thompson is our US side of the model. And that's it.
All right, any questions from the audience? Come on, you guys are dog owners. You guys are going to be thinking about something going on here. Come on.
And we got a few of these for the best questions from dog owners. We're going to get some of these. So.
I like it. I like it. I have a question.
Go ahead.
So on the your expansion side, do you feel that is it going to come from referrals? Is it going to come from a pure social play? How do you see this kind of growing into other markets inside of Toronto, of course, but outside of, you had store owners, you have other access, but how do you start to see it moving around a little bit quicker to be able to hit the numbers and direction you're going?
Sure. That's a very good question. We've been using social so far, and it's been very good for us in getting that growth and getting the spark. And we've, of the users we have, about 80% are in Toronto because we've focused a lot the social media here, but we're picking up these people from outside. We're then now looking for some of the dog entrepreneurs that are out there. So we're tying in with some of these social media dogs that are out there and doing contests with them and tapping into their audience. Some of them are 40 and 50, 70, 200,000 fans that are following them. And so we'll use them as we start to grow. But we really are focused on the Toronto side. We test piloted rural versus the city and felt that the city's best. So we've focused now into 4 different communities in the Toronto marketplace. And it's really to become that, so using the zip car kind of model, we want to become the best in a small community so that then people start to say, okay, this thing looks really big, and they start to then get out to their friends beyond that. Oh, question here?
I have a question too. Yeah. So I think that, focusing on one specific small location is the way to do this. I have a Yorkie puppy at home, and I'm always looking for people to connect with at dog parks that have other small dogs that he can play with because he gets so scared at a dog that's, double his size or more,
Sure.
which most dogs are. And I'm curious,
That's for a Yorkie puppy,
what
yeah.
I'll roll it or I'll cut it in half. I'm curious, what does the interaction look like, for that purpose? Like, can I look at other dogs that are literally in the same park as me? Because there's 3 parks around me. Like, that's the micro location kind of that I would need.
And that's another great question. That is sort of the future of where we want to go to, is that you'll be able to walk into a park and beacon, and if you're on it, be able to beacon. Well, we're very careful with that because there were some apps out there like that, and then people got into stalking situations. So we have to be very careful about that. But we do, the fact that you can see another breed, the goal would be you'd go in and you would find other owners that have a breed like yours, or if you're in a store and you would be able to find those people. Now, when you go to the park, you'll be able to beacon off and you'll know that those people are in that park if you're close by. So that is sort of the next generations we want to get to. As an MVP, that's not there today, but you can go and look by breed. So you can make friends breed to breed, and also look, if I'm looking for a groomer, the messaging they'll get information right now, like if you've liked something or if you've given a review, they'll see that. The messaging is the next stage that we're working on right now, is to do some instant messaging between them. Those are hard platforms to do. That's why if you think about even Facebook had to do Messenger as a separate platform from Facebook. Trying to mix those two together is extremely difficult to do, and we don't have the money of Facebook. You can build packs, yes, yeah. Oh, right. We're doing. We didn't put the actual numbers up there. So we are doing a seed round, and then going into the angel side. And we've used safes in the past, and we'll probably go with safes again for the seed portion of what we're going to do. So, yeah. Yeah.
Question for you
then.
Mm-hmm. How are you going to get users to constantly be using this app and just, checking it out?
Some of that, I think, will come over time for us to understand what will be that single use that somebody's going to be looking for. We've had some VCs that we've talked to have sort of been poking at us with that same question: is what's that single use case that's going to get somebody to come? And we're still early in the game where we're trying to figure out what's that going to be. One of the ones that Glenn and I talked about were instant updates in parks. So if I'm at a park and it's, maybe there's it's been a bad rain day, and the park is all muddy, that you can get out to your entire pack of friends and say, hey, don't bother coming to the park today. It's icy, it's muddy, whatever. That we're thinking that will probably be part of it, but it will be different for a lot of different people. I'm not sure there'll be one single use case that will get people to be checking back in.
Just as a suggestion,
Mm-hmm.
If you were to actually leverage it so that, like, you're veterinarian,
yep.
You can actually get your veterinarian on, and you can actually use the app also as a storage space for your pets.
Yeah.
So you can, that way you get the user using it on a regular basis all the time to check things in, when's the next appointment.
Right.
So you can get people in like that from the veterinarian side, which will give you some revenue. Plus also get them using it on a regular basis.
Right.
So now there's a dual model for it. I'm using it for my pet, but I can also access it.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we've thought about those, and there's platforms out there. There's a lot of race right now for veterinary medical record systems. So there's about 8 players right now that are vying into that space. We'd have to think, do we just want to do a light version of that? Because to kind of go after that market suddenly changes. But it is, like right now, you do have your chip number in, like, so when you register your dog, you can put your chip number in, they put your birthday in. So there's things we can start to do in there that if your dog gets lost. And so you had a question back there?
I did. I guess my question is, how do you view Google and Yelp as competitors to this concept?
So they were taken out of our slide by from our last people we pitched in front of and said, you got to take them off there. Because at the end of the day, they are periphery competitors. Now, the difference with Yelp is that Yelp is a generalized model, and most people, if I asked you, what do you think of Yelp, what would you use Yelp for? It's mostly for restaurant reservations. But you can find some of these businesses in there. The difference is they don't have that same model of connecting around the dogs. And so as a Yelp, if I'm a Yelp user and I read a review of a dog store, I have no idea who's put that review, and I don't know anything about the dog owner, the dog breed, or anything else. That's a differentiator we have. We're very focused in this market. By the way, we see them as a potential exit strategy for us. Someone like a Yelp might look at us and say, hey, these guys have cracked the code on how to get into this specific market. We'd like to take over all of that data and all those users into that market space. So we see them as a potential exit strategy for us in the long run. And Google's a much bigger animal, but again, periphery, because it's all about, they're just about the reviews is what they are. So, okay, yep.
So absolutely love the whole, is this on? Can you hear me? Absolutely love the whole branding, like possibilities, like it's unreal, man. It's amazing. So there's an obvious market. It's a segregated market. You're trying to consolidate it, completely get the business model. There's been some comments here. I know what your direction is, so that's amazing. A couple critiques. There's a slide that says 35 million customers, but you're getting $100 in subscription, so you could throw on 35 billion on the slide at some point, and I think it'll show to investors the big market. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, I get the model. I get what you're trying to do. The network effects that come with this is huge. And your answer to Jeff's question was good, because that's how Facebook started to build that network effects, and small communities dominate and then keep moving. So I would agree with that strategy and say I think you got the right opinion there.
Thank you.
So I think
that.
it's a lot of positives there, but yeah, I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's an interesting market. I mean, I think a lot of people who have dogs, I mean, they'll put them in front of the kids sometimes in terms of services and things like that. It's a relationship. It's a bond that you can really take advantage of and to really leverage. And I think you got that piece. I love the creativity of, the dogs having their own accounts and, connecting with the people in your neighborhood. I think there's an element to that, and it's a very creative approach. And I think it builds that buy-in and the usage. The only concern I would have is, again, somebody, instead of buying you out, just saying I can do something similar, leverage tools that I already have in place, and basically take that on and just do it themselves. So that will, I think, will always be the risk associated with something like this, that if they can replicate it, and I think your strength is in building that network, that community, and being, like someone said, having a very strong roots in that community. I think that's a critical component of it. I think it's got potential, and I think it's how you take it to the next level and how you can really leverage it and build those networks. So I think that there's that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
Bark and Yap, cute name. I want to know, what about the cats, though?
Cats are coming. The cat owners aren't like dog owners.
No, I hear you.
They're not as neurotic as we are.
Your pitch is really good. It has a really good flow. And you provide a lot of really good information. You present well. It feels like you're getting somewhere as you talk. And you started out with a personal story, so you speak very well. At one point, you used the term tech-savvy owners. I don't think this is a great term. Is this an internal term you use, or do you market with this term?
We've actually just started to market with that term to I think to really get people to focus on the fact that this is a technology play.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I perceive your challenge is going to be twofold. The first challenge will be, how are you going to show the value of the data that will be provided to the manufacturers in order to monetize the platform, and how are you going to establish yourself or the platform as the Facebook or LinkedIn for dogs?
I mean, they're both very valid comments, and they're ones I think that as we grow out, those are some of the challenges we're going to have to start to face as we build up our audience, that we have to then start to differentiate who we are based on that audience growing.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And anybody?
That was awesome.
There was also an ask here. One of the things I did miss. We are also looking for resources right now. So what there are, we're looking for development folks. If there are any developers out there that love dogs, come and see me. I'll be up in here. Would love to chat with you because we're starting to build out our team.
Awesome. I think Megan has a dog, and she has about 5 million dog followers on Instagram. She may own that spot. Oh, very nice. I thought I would follow her just because it was a dog. I'm like, I'll try this. And she takes a lot of dog photos. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty awesome, though. All right, so the next group, give me 360. You guys are up. I like it.
Thank you. You might be. Great. Well, thanks for having us. We're excited to share our vision with you guys, and thanks for listening to our spiel.
Yeah, it's really nice. Seems like a really warm event. Everybody here is giving really good feedback. So thanks for having us again. Yeah, we're going to start.
Cool. Is there a clicker? Cool. Dan has it.
You're gonna
Okay,
be the
so
clicker guy.
I guess we'll start off with kind of like the genesis of Gimme 360. So we all have like backgrounds in the nonprofit sector, and like one thing that we would always see is like we'd go to door collecting money, and one thing people would ask is like, where's my money going? Like, I'm giving all this money per month, but I don't really see my impact. And that's what really caused us to get into like virtual reality video, is sharing that impact with the people that might donate.
Yeah, so it was really cool. We got hired on by a big charity and NGO called 1001 Fontaines. They work with the UN and UNICEF, and they hired us to film some of their projects in 360 videos so that their donors in Canada, France, hence the name 1001 Fontaines means fountains. So the fact that people could go to places where they couldn't actually go is something that really inspired us. But our main focus is actually augmented reality. We think that the market is going to be really big there, especially with all the things that are coming out now. I know Pokemon Go is really big, but we're thinking of things that are a little bit more practical, because you saw how fast that came, how fast it went away. So that's
Yeah.
what we're focusing on right now.
So we were really excited to go to Cambodia for 2 weeks in the summer. We came back, we went on Kickstarter, we raised just over $20,000 in 30 days. And that's when we're like, okay, like let's quit our jobs, let's triple down on this, and let's start a company. So that's kind of how Gimme 360 started.
Yeah, so this is our core team right here. As you can see, the slide is taking very long.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
yeah, so right now, me and Josiah should be in second year university right now, but we pitched our idea to our deans, and we're allowed to take the year off without not being enrolled. He currently finished his MBA and was working at Scotiabank, so he helps us a lot with our business development side. But we're really passionate about the tech, and we believe that one day you'll think, how did we go living without augmented reality? Like, you think now, like, everybody has your phone. That didn't come too long ago. That's what AR is going to be. And what's really exciting too is the fact that whenever our clients ask us to do something, we have the capability to never say no. So if you want to look at a tomato at a farm in Nicaragua, you could see the pH balance of the soil and stuff like that by recognizing the image and looking at the sensors in the ground. So
yeah, so
to back on that,
as Lucas said, yeah, we definitely think augmented reality and virtual reality represent our greatest opportunity to change the way people live, work, and play. So this is just a quick example of augmented reality. So this is one of our customers that we're working with, a little demo. So
that
when we
logo
build
is,
it,
yeah.
So when we build it out, it's obviously a lot more. But yeah, so how the technology works is you leverage computer vision to recognize any image, and then we superimpose content on it and allow you to interact with it. So up until now, your digital experience has been confined within the four corners of your phone. Now it's everywhere.
So that logo is actually on every Molson beer can. So by spring, you'll be able to interact with this game and stuff like that. And that's just only one partner that we're working with right now.
We're also working with a large supermarket to enrich the customer experience when you're shopping. So right now, a lot of retailers are angry because you have to put things in English and French, so you don't have a lot of room to convey your branding, right? So with augmented reality, we allow you to put as much information as you want.
So it's really cool too. I know a beautiful thing about being Canadian is the fact that we're all immigrants and we're here together. We're different, but most often than not, everybody speaks a different language other than English or French, like Josiah said. And since 80% of Canadians are visual learners, using AR and VR to explain complex information is understandable to everyone. So if, let's say, you want to find Oreos, but you only speak Cantonese, you could recognize those are Oreos, click it, okay, it's in aisle 13. So those are just cool things that we could do, let alone there's millions of other opportunities. I just think right now we're focusing on what's the easiest to enter and what makes the most money, because I don't think anybody is really here to not make a lot of money. But yeah.
And actually, Boeing just recently published a white paper, and they found that compared to PDFs and augmented reality is actually 80% more efficient and there's 30% less errors. So obviously that's a huge
Very
financial
important
impact,
for
yeah,
a jet
on their
engine to
bottom
make sure
line.
that there isn't an error. A lot of people at risk.
Yeah, so we're based in the DMZ, one of the top, actually the top incubator in North America, and where a lot of great companies have come out of there, 500 pixels, a lot of $1 million companies, and we believe that we're on the same trajectory as them.
Like everybody says, but
on a pitch.
Yeah, so we're working with leading global brands to influence their customer experience and their employee empowerment. Augmented reality is really new, and where we think we differentiate is definitely a lot of developers are focused on games, and we see huge business opportunity and practical opportunity for the technology.
Yeah, definitely. So to sum it up, we're an augmented and virtual reality solutions firm, and we have a main focus in highly immersive marketing, employee empowerment, and also philanthropy. And we've found that these are the most meaningful things. However, we're not ignoring other opportunities. I know a lot of people have recently contacted us for content creation, app extension, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that should be updated. There's a lot more.
So yeah, quick and simple. We're gonna be on Dragon's Den next month, so look out for us. Yeah, give me 360. Woo! Thanks so much for listening to us.
That was great, guys. All right, any questions in the audience?
Right now, we're not looking for a lot of investment. Being on Dragon's Den, we're hoping to land a deal. However, we've not said no to any offers. We're willing to listen to anybody. But right now, with the current evaluation we have, we think that with the growth that we have gone in the past 3 months, that it will change every month. So a deal now could be exponentially different within a couple weeks, depending on how deals close.
Yeah, we're open to opportunity, but we're here just for the exposure and to meet cool people. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have missed it, but how long ago did you guys start?
So the ideation has been within a year, but we incorporated in June. However, we had the Kickstarter, went to Cambodia. So we've actually really started just in December, and we've closed a lot of big deals, which we're even surprised at how fast we're growing. So
Yeah, working with like two of the big five banks, like a lot of insurance companies, CPG, retail. So
yeah, even like it was just us a couple months ago. Now we have a team of 7 in Toronto, 8 in Mumbai, and another 7 in Peru. So we're expanding really fast, and with the talent that we're attracting, we're very excited.
yeah, and to touch on Lucas's point, the reason why we kind of outsource some of the development is so our internal team can work on it for, let's say, 10 hours, and when we're asleep, they can work on it. So we're getting that continuous life
Cheaper,
cycle of
more
development.
efficient.
Yeah.
Yes. Revenue, we could speak about that after. However, we're keeping the doors closed just because we don't really. No one.
Yeah. Also,
simple as that.
metaverse is here and there. So.
So what's your differentiating factor? What sets you apart from all the other VR companies, AR companies?
Yeah, so the point that Lucas just said, that we have a team in Mumbai, so we're actually able to work on things 24 hours around the clock, which significantly reduces the cost of development and also the time frame. So if there's an RFP process that any company puts out, we can beat it.
Yeah, and also the fact that we're hustlers. We're at every meeting. We meet with anybody we can. So our connections have grown exponentially. And that's mainly about it. We'll know if we need to meet someone, we'll know where they're at, and we'll meet them there. So.
So when I first met you guys, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, I know that you were focused more in the retail industry, and I see that you have, this huge pivot. You've taken this technology and basically, you're able to apply it anywhere. This is maybe like a really long explanation that we'll dial down to 1 or 2 sentences, but like, what were the insights of sort of making pivot?
Great, yeah.
Yeah, so we actually focused a lot on retail before, but what we actually realized was people were loving the experience, not actually like the clothing and stuff like that. So we doubled down on that, and the business model really showed true signs that it was going to grow a lot faster than our old model. So like true entrepreneurs, you go where the money is, you go where the opportunities are, and that's what we're doing.
And second question is, what industries have you found are sort of the earliest adopters to this kind of technology?
Really funny, whoever we've really met with has been extremely interested. So I'd love to say a certain industry, but even us right now, we don't fully know.
Yeah.
It's just how well we prepare ourselves for our meetings and stuff like that is really what shows if
Yeah.
the business wants to get in or not.
Definitely financial institutions, though. They have a lot of money and they're looking to digitize their whole like ecosystem. So
Make stuff
they're
less
kind of like the
boring.
low-hanging fruit. But as Lucas said, yeah, kind of everyone.
Yes.
So do you guys work on the app side and the content side?
Yes. So we could build native apps, extensions to apps, or have web-based solutions so that it's available to everyone. And yes, we do create the content.
So you provide like APIs for?
Yes, exactly. Any
Great.
more questions? Yeah.
Exclusively focused on AR.
We see a more potential in AR than VR, so we're mainly focused on that. However, we are dabbled in AR and in VR,
yeah.
and we have done projects in VR as well.
Because the obvious thing is that cardboard is very cheap.
Yeah, it's mainly mobile AR.
Yeah.
So like
out
a
of
lot
a $120 billion market share, augmented reality, just mobile augmented reality, will be $83 billion, and the rest will be VR. So we're definitely keen on pursuing like the augmented reality opportunity. It like VR is you, whereas augmented reality is more social and open. Yeah.
Even Tim Cook said when he was speaking at a conference that he could picture everybody using mobile AR, but he can't picture everybody using VR because he can't see a lot of people having a headset on and being nauseous, which myself, I personally can't.
Meta wants $950 for their goggles.
It's pretty intense, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great.
Questions?
Pardon?
Yes.
No, because if we were to get ad agency as partners, we'd kind of be the middlemen, or they'd be the middlemen. So we're not really finding that much of a problem going straight to the customers. So
Pardon me?
pending.
Patents. And anybody could really do it. It's just how fast and how willing you are to hustle. I know another big competitor other than Metaverse, Seed Interactive. We actually bought their website. So when you go on their website, it goes to ours. So we're definitely savages. We're willing to do anything we can to be ahead. And we're not going to fight until it's over. We don't plan on quitting. And we know the potential of this industry. So we're going to stick it until we win it.
Yeah.
We can't disclose exactly, but we are. I know that's just to show an example of like.
Yeah,
what
I think
we
you
can
can
do.
kind of
We
like
can say
depict
yes
from that.
but that's about all we'd like to share. If you even go on our website, everything's locked down. Yeah, no, for sure.
You can ask the CMO. So.
Thank
Okay, thank you so much for listening to us. Awesome. Oh, more questions. Okay.
So good job, guys. So I started to figure out what you're doing kind of after the presentation. I'm going to guess that was because you're trying to keep things a little bit hidden for this presentation. Okay, I get it. You made a comment about the developers. Now you'd be more efficient, because you have developers all, 24 hours or whatever. In my experience, there could be some issues with that. So could you just rebuttal on that and talk a bit about how that would actually make you more efficient?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's definitely a learning curve. Like, obviously, working with someone hundreds of miles away is difficult, which is why we often fly to Mumbai and meet them.
Okay.
So what we do is we segment the work, so we don't actually have people working on one thing and then passing it over. We have them working on a completely separate thing. So, and then we kind of integrate it all together at the end.
I see. Okay. Good answer. And then the direction of the business, like I don't have a lot of information on what you gave me. So you're going direct to customers now, and they're all big brands, and that's your game plan now. And you have a sales team to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
let's go. Cool.
So right now we're the main salespeople.
Okay.
But we do have a biz dev firm, which we've just actually taken on today. One of them used to be a city councilor, stuff like that. Very well connected and excited at what we can do. And yeah.
Okay.
That's about it for the sales team.
I love the savage buying your competitors' domain.
Hey, that's what you got to do.
I think a lot of this has been a bit of a tease, right? Because you guys haven't really shown us a lot of what you have. You kind of given us a little hint of that and said, hey, watch the dragons. So, I mean, you kind of put it out there. And
if it's a big deal, you'll notice it in some time.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's kind of hard to really give a lot of feedback or when we don't really know the revenues. You don't know who the clients are. We don't know all that. I mean,
It's
for
like
me
IBM.
personally, I look at it. I see Mitch Frazier out there from Tory, so obviously there's a little bit of seriousness to it. I mean, some of the people you have on there are big players in the industries. So I mean, that's important. You obviously have that backing. You've convinced them that you got something going on here. And I think, like you said, it's an interesting market. It's a market that's going to grow. I do kind of agree with you. I think the augmented reality versus the VR, I think there's probably a bit more there in that sense of potential because everybody's got a cell phone, everybody's got these tools available, and it's easier to use, lower costs of introduction. So yeah, it's interesting. And hey, you got meat teas. I want to definitely see what's going on in the next show. So good job.
Thanks. Gimme 360, very hit name. I really like it. You mentioned philanthropy, but didn't show how you're incorporating this into your business model. Did you have an example of that, or?
Yeah, so we love doing socially good projects, but also the projects that we do that aren't so socially good, or not that they're not, just they're not focused on that. We like to give a portion of each project to an eye institute that we work with, and they get rid of cataracts in third world countries so that people can see, like, again, it's really amazing the fact that you could bring someone's eyesight back for.
Thank you. Totally awesome. Now, at the very end, like you guys started at 7:30 and you spoke for 6 minutes, and it wasn't until in the very last sentence that you actually explained what you did, and you did it. You talked about, the immersive marketing. I think that what you said at the very last minute should be at the beginning of the presentation.
Okay, thank you.
It took us a long time to
That's
figure
good
out what you
feedback.
did. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Okay, awesome. We have one more group. Judy? Caesar? All right, we're going to have to hold for 2 seconds as we find Judy and Caesar. Okay. Tell a joke. Well, so my jokes aren't very good. I don't think I have any, so. What's that? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Hey guys, Hey guys, my name is Valersa, and this is my colleague here, Chantal. We're here on behalf of the Biomedical Zone near St. Michael's Hospital, and for the first time ever, we're collaborating with four main hospitals from Ontario to host the first ever health-based case competition. So if you have any solutions, Thank you. If you have any solutions or want to be part of a solution for the four needs that these hospitals came up with, please do apply at healthbound-bmz .com. And we have flyers here for more information. Please do come. We're right there. And we have some flyers left near the wine table, so please do check it out. And thank you so much for your time, guys. Thank you.
That was way better than me telling a joke, so that's support. Okay, Caesar, where are you? Okay, so our last contestant, I always want to say that. It's not our last contestant, but our last business to pitch. Ready to go? BizX Pro.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Judy Escobar, co-founder of BizX Pro. And what we are is we help businesses and buyers get informed on top-rated development web and app companies. So what we've seen ourselves do over the years is myself and my co-founder, we have had 20 years of experience in IT corporate services. And what we found oftentimes is that clients had a lack of awareness as to who they could trust their business with. The problem is that there are a sea of these mid-tier firms out there, and it's difficult for a business to know who they can trust and move forward with. So just to give you an idea, in Toronto alone, 600, and globally over 100,000. It's hard as a business to know who you can trust and move forward with. The fear is with the large guys, you know them and you know they're great, but you're afraid of getting caught up in the payments and the billing, and you're going to be taken for a ride. And with the smaller guys, not being very technically proficient, the concern is, what if I don't know what they don't know? And that's pretty scary. So all you want is that nice in between that works, solves your problems, and matches your budget. Sounds easy. But not really. These firms help with things like managing voice and data networks, telephones, voice systems, app development as mentioned, and so much more. So what we're doing is we have our app, and what we do is we provide very valuable information, things that you wouldn't get elsewhere. So imagine you're a business, you need to do an upgrade to your website, and you don't know who to turn to. The thing is, you can go, for example, for a WordPress site, and you can get a quote for $500, literally. You can get a quote for $20,000, or you can get a quote for $100,000. And it's difficult to know. If you're not in that world, how do you trust? How do you gauge? So what we do is we grab valuable information, put it in our listing based on the criteria that the client inputs, and they can do a review and get informed. It creates transparency. Which helps to build trust. Things that we provide are things such as ratings. So we have gone out there and have uploaded a database of 800 suppliers that we have curated through various very trustworthy sites, if you will, and uploaded those reviews as well, 2,000 in total. In addition, this is just to populate the database. When we get these providers on board and get them registered to validate this, we actually have them give us 3 client testimonials on completed projects. We then send this out, it's all automated, it's not a manual, and we get these people to review and confirm the data is accurate and actually give them a 5-star rating. That you, as a business user, going back to that individual that needed a site, can look at, have an idea of how many ratings it is, and what that average rating out of 1 out of 5. This is an example of what the providers get to see. What they love is that we have given them the autonomy to control their lead generation costs. So being in sales as long as we have been in, we know that the quality of leads oftentimes are awful. They pay a lot of upfront money for it, and you don't feel like you're getting a proper return on investment. What we've done is given full transparency, allow them to take a look and decide if they want to make an investment based on valuable information that we give them. So these are some testimonials that we have received from our clients. Things like it's a game changer. The reason why it resonates is because IT for all purposes is a very forward-thinking and innovative industry, or so you'd think. But the way in which it's sourced, the way in which we go about our current day looking for these people to help us with our business is very archaic in nature, which is the irony. So we don't just allow, as mentioned, any provider on our site. We do a qualification process to make sure that we have top rated and best in class, so that if you're entrusting your business with these individuals, with these firms, you have that confidence to move forward. So why now? Over the past 10 years, as consumers, we've been acclimatized to listen and trust what others are saying. TripAdvisor, HomeAdvisor, Yelp, there are so many review sites. These same consumers were working in a business environment, and we have that same confidence. We've gotten now acclimatized to it. So we thought to ourselves, why don't we take that behavior, bring it into the corporate world, and create greater transparency? And so we have. The market itself, and this is focused on managed services and hybrid cloud. If you were to add an additional development, that's a $70 billion. That's in North America by SMBs. So companies ranging in anywhere from 25 to about 200 employees full-time. And the way we monetize is we collect a 4% on all transactions that go through our site. So the maximum that we could ever yield would be $2 billion of that. Given are based on our customer acquisition strategy and our projections. We anticipate 15 million by the end of 2019. So we launched in May of last year, and since then we have had over 300 users sign on to our site, processed over 200 leads, and have fully registered 76 providers. So of those 800, 76 have said, we love your model, we love what you're doing, we're okay paying it, and we have them on board. So how it works, if you're a business user, you'd come to the site, and for free, you'd submit a request. You'd put in your requirements. You then have various providers to look forward, but most pick 3, which is the minimum, and that's about the average. So each provider then pays a price per lead of $75 American. Let's say provider A is awarded the business, then we collect a 4% take rate, which they have gladly and happily agreed to given their healthy margins. They range anywhere from 30 to 40%, and the deal size is anywhere from $50 to $500,000. So these are our projections, and as you can see, we anticipate to be profitable by year 3, and a couple of reasons. One is we have now entered into the US market. We're focusing right now on the New York region just because it's very dense. So by that time, we'll have been Canada, 50 major cities. We're in the US, brand awareness. But most importantly, what's really going to help that number is that we have built the funnel of the 4% collection month over month. So how do we plan on bringing on these clients? Well, there's multiple strategies. The first and foremost would be organic search. And how we plan on doing that is really focusing on content creation, driving value, driving quality in what we issue out. And we have a cadence that we do week over week, and every 3 weeks that we continue to reissue that content. That's one way. In tandem, we have very targeted email campaigns that go to the personas we're going after. And how we do it is such that we send it out, and then we do it in a very sequential manner that when these people, it drives traffic to the site. We put UTM links, which is tracking in emails, to see how much traffic is being driven to the site as a result of our emails. In tandem, we recognize that to expand our reach and to create real trust in the community, we need to affiliate ourselves with individuals, such as the regional innovation centers in Canada and the chambers of commerce. So we're in conversations with them because they themselves have seen that their membership has a problem with technology, that ignorance. Anyhow, ignorance is the right word, that lack of transparency. And so they thought this is a great way, it's a free tool for them, let's leverage it. And then of course, you can't ignore social media. We're on that as well. So as mentioned, we are sorry, my apologies. So we're in Canada. However, we look in the future expanding 2-way. One is through, of course, geographic expansion, but also corporate services. So our real vision long-term is to become a virtual CIO. So once we gather the data and we collect it, long-term, big, hairy, audacious goal is for us to not only give them the source of these top-rated providers, but also to be able to give them the knowledge set, understand their basic requirements, and then even put forth who they should move forward. So eliminate that back and forth and have a really great, solid starting point. And there are other competitors out there. Some focus on very small businesses. Others focus on large enterprises. We're focused more so on the mid-size. It's very underserved, a very untapped market, and it's got a lot of room for penetration. What we do unique to these other players, our platform, we actually collect the request at the forefront. So over time, we gather that valuable data throughout time so we can have a full holistic view of the full SMB buying process from start to finish. And as mentioned, our defense is our algorithm, of course, that we've right now garnered in order to help them, populating as much providers and supply side, getting the critical mass, the reviews, which are key, as well as the volume of providers on the site. So the team is myself and Tiagi Delanerol. With our extensive industry experience, we head up business development and strategy. We know this world, we're comfortable with it. We know both sides. We understand the demand, so the business user's frustration, but we also understand the supply side's frustration. Then we have Peter Karczmarzyk, award-winning creative director. He is the look and feel of the site, of anything that goes out in the front end. And then we have Alec Brunel, who's our full stack. He is a graduating student at UFT this upcoming May. And our roadmap, as mentioned, is we are in the US, and then we eventually continue to throughout recommend, and then eventually the long-term strategy is to get the quote through the system so that we can control the full flow. So up to now, we have bootstrapped the operations ourselves, and we received the OCE Smart Start grant, and we've got into an accelerator in Boulder, Colorado, and they've given us the first tranche of $30,000, or close to it. So our financial ask is $250,000 over a 12-month period that will allow us to process over 2,000 leads and garner over $300,000 in gross revenues. And so BizX Pro, Match Select Connect. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was awesome. Okay, any questions from the audience? You guys all have businesses. You guys are probably all interested in signing up. What's your initial thoughts? I have a question I want to start off before we jump in.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So as a software company, business owner, what is the process you go through to analyze who's allowed in and not? So is it a call? Is it fill out a form and then you do your analysis and research, or?
That's a great question. So what we do is you can go on the site and sign up automatically. Then we would be notified. As part of the onboarding after the fact, you'll receive an email notification asking to give 3 client testimonials. We do it very systematic in approach. It's not just who it is, it's who is it, what challenge did they have, how did you address it, and what was the result to their business. We then send it out to them, get it validated to confirm it's accurate, and get them to rate you on 5 key criteria based on a score of 1 to 5. Then we take that tally and that average, and if it's greater than a 4, we're comfortable, and away you go.
And how does it generate? The system then starts to populate as people come in. It starts to populate your name against other people based on the rating system.
Our algorithm will do that. So in essence, if you want to provide more than 3 as a starting point, that's only going to help you. I mean, it's more work, but it's going to serve you better to populate up front, because what you're showcasing is that you have breadth, you have experience, your customers love you, so naturally the algorithm helps it pop it up. Yeah. Yeah, so we're different in the sense that we only focus on firms. We don't do individual contractors or consultants, we're actual companies. So what we do is we connect companies, so businesses, to companies, which are the development firms. Does that help address your question?
But on Upwork, it's the same thing. There are businesses who are giving out business, and there are companies who are doing business.
Yeah, well, yeah, there are other sites.
Personal preference. Like, if I want to work with a freelancer, I can go with a freelancer.
Absolutely.
If I want to work with a company, I can work with a company.
Yeah. How do we? So typically the individuals that look for a firm is people that already have internal resources and they want to augment it for a specific project. So they don't want to take, and they don't want to have to manage one individual. They want redundancy. They want a team of experts that they can offload. Someone will manage, they pay a fee, and then when the project is done, they go on their way. That's what I've seen. Or on the flip side, I've seen people that are not technically proficient, don't want to put all of their trust in one individual and feel much more confidence with a company, a firm, and they take that route. Any other questions?
Okay, we're going to go to the judges. Oh, wait, there is. Whoa.
Oh, sure.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, how are you?
How is it when you actually vet them and then you facilitate trades and they do and then somebody screws up? Do you face liability for something that you recommended them but?
No. So, okay, that's a great question. So we do not hold ourselves liable, because what we're saying is we give the business user the autonomy to pick who they want. What we do is we give them enough information so that they feel confident to do their due diligence. And they don't have to buy. Like, they can pick 3 and they can do their due diligence and they can feel confident with one and move forward, or feel confident with none and decide to look elsewhere or go, source someone else. So we don't. But how we help create transparency is, let's say a business user did select someone from our platform and they move forward and they did the work. What we do is we circle back with the business user and we go through that same process. So we have the provider fill out that case study, as well as rate them. We then, so if you're unhappy, you would not give them a good rating. We would take that rating and it would go towards their current score, which would minimize it. So that's why we help create transparency. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but how do you make, you get paid by the companies who offer services, right?
That's right, yeah.
So how do you make sure that you actually, I mean, just in theory, as a user, well, they get negative reviews, but you just don't put them up? Because I don't know how many projects they actually did via a website. Do they have 5 positive reviews? How do I know that the guy who pays you is not actually pressing you to suppress the negative reviews and just put up positive?
The negative revenue?
I mean, there's a project.
Oh, I'm sorry. The negative. My apologies. Sorry. Yeah. No. Great. Sorry. So what were you saying? How do you know that guy is not paying us to not put up the negative review? Is that?
It's the quality of the review, essentially, right?
Oh, that's a great question. So this is current. Yeah. That's okay. That's great question. So currently, right now, we do have an average rating, and it doesn't go into granular detail. In non-production, in development right now, we are launching landing pages. These landing pages will go into granular detail. So right now when you click on a provider, you will go to their own personal landing page. You will see these mini case studies with the ratings on the 5 key criteria, not just the average, but each criteria. You will, if the individual that gave us the reference doesn't allow us to disclose their name, we adhere to privacy, so we don't. But what we do give at minimum is the size of the company, the industry, and the title of the individual that gave it. If they give us consent, we will put their name up there along with their company. So you can go and check, right? Like in LinkedIn, or if you really wanted to have that confidence. I mean, down the road, what would be great, and we're considering it, we'd have to apply, it would be ideal to be able to plug in to LinkedIn's API, so that if you come and you look at this individual and you go in with your LinkedIn credentials, you can then see a match and be like, oh, okay, well, this person's out with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just adds to drive quality as well as trust.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my concerns kind of too. It's kind of like a trust pilot model where they're directly making money. But yeah, okay. So with Biz X Pro, I think it's really good that you guys are putting out the reviews to help, find, because I mean, there's some really good quality firms out there that might get, bashed by others that don't do a great job.
Yeah.
How many reviews do you have now, though? Like, how many companies have you gone through? Like, it's almost like a marketplace scenario. Like, how many?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have in our database 800 uploaded providers, Canada and the US, 40% Canadian, 60% American. And amongst those 800, there are 2,000 reviews. Right there that speak to, it'll say what they're saying, commentary, I should say. It'll speak to the price range indicator. So where do they fare from inexpensive to expensive? What else do we provide? The amount, of course, and then the average rating based on what we've gathered.
Okay, well, I think that's important to market, right? Like the 800 reviews that you are putting out and the 2,000 that you had. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
On my end, I guess it would be interesting to know where that sweet spot is between somebody going out there and trying to hire an individual versus hiring a company. What do you get hiring the company versus just going out and pitching the work to somebody else who would bid for it? Or because I know that there are some sites that you can bid IT work and you can do other things.
Yeah. So is the question as a business, I'm trying to understand the question a little bit better. Yeah. So is the question that as a business user, why would I select a firm versus an individual?
If I'm looking to save money, I would probably try to get an individual if I can have the same securities or same safeguards to know that the quality is there and that they're also vetted. So
you would, yes, you would, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a trade-off between cost versus quality. But you would also, it's inherent in the individual. So it's how technically proficient are you? How much confidence do you have to know that what they're doing is great? Typically, when you have a team, and I speak from even my world, right? When I had a team of my engineers working on a solution for one of my clients, it's a team. You have redundancy. So if one individual is not able to perform or they're sick or resources are low, they shift and you still meet your project on time. When it's an individual, you're much more dependent on them. You may forego that for cost because that's your budget and we will not get around that. But if you want to have a team and you want that confidence and you're not technically proficient, oftentimes you go for a company. We wouldn't cater specifically to very, very small companies or owner operators, because they typically, it's budget and they go for a friend they know or whatnot, right? It's more nepotism. But where we see is, like I said, that 25 employee side company, full-time employee company up. Because now typically their revenues are about $1 million plus. They can afford to outsource to a company, and they want to offload that headache of having to manage someone they don't know and not part of their team. That's what we've seen. Does that help address your question?
And I guess the other question I would have is, what is the average size of a deal that you're getting?
That's a great question. So they range, right, from, I've seen right now the average 30K.
Because at some point you would have to go to RFP. If you're working at a company and you have certain policies and procedures, you just can't go and get whoever you want off a website. You would actually have to go through an RFP process where they come in, they pitch you, and you get a little bit of due diligence as well.
So enterprise companies typically operate like that, from my own experience. So usually when you are a company of about and it depends the company too, right? But typically what I've seen, when you're a company of 500 plus, you're considered enterprise. We are not going, that's not our target audience. And the reason is exactly what you said. They have procurement practices in place, their own departments, they have to adhere to internal policies, they have their own pre-vetted approved vendors, and to be able to deviate from that, good luck. and that's not who our platform would be useful. We have, believe it or not though, we have had some requests go through from enterprise clients, but it was as a secondary option when they were able to find a little bit of a loophole and utilize it and not get slapped on the wrist. But you're right, we would not target to them. We wouldn't target them.
So you're finding that niche market in between.
Is the smaller. It's like a company, it's a firm, not a company with about 20 full-time employees paid on their payroll to about 150. Because also when you start getting too big, now you have the money or you want more dedicated staff. And so you're able to put the money towards recruiting and maintaining those internal resources.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. BizX Pro, good name.
Thank you.
I guess you're like the Angie's List for IT.
That's great. I haven't heard that one. That's exactly what we are. Yeah.
This market is small and it's a referral service, and you have to generate credibility with the users.
Yeah.
Why is your rating valid? I know a lot of people have asked that of you.
How is our rating valid?
Why is your rating valid? Like, how can you create credibility that your rating is valid?
Well, that's a good question. So how we would create credibility is because we have the business user. So initially, as a starting point, it is from their existing customers.
So why wouldn't they just give you their 3 best customers who speak highly of them?
Well, they most likely will give us their best clients.
But eventually,
as time goes by and more data collects, how we keep it very fair is by doing through individuals that go through the site.
Absolutely.
And one thing we have been challenged with, and it's a fair challenge, is like, well, if just say someone's unhappy and they're like, well, ABC Inc. dev company sucks. I want to put that on their landing page. Will you allow us to do that? Well, we won't, because we're a very professional business-to-business marketplace. But how we do show the transparency is because that same individual will most likely score them 1 out of 5 on everything, and that will really hit their average. So that's how we maintain that nice balance between professionalism and integrity.
Okay. And what are you doing to build credibility beyond affiliation with innovation centers and your social media?
PR, right? Like getting out there, talking to individuals, getting our name known, content creation, and content creation that's valuable. We're not looking to sell to people. We're not looking to put content out there so that they just use our site. We actually want to be helpful and educate. And over time, once they see that we're giving before we're asking, we feel, we've seen it from other marketplaces. That's typically how you garner trust, aside from affiliating yourself with a well-known name.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, awesome. That was great.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I just had one thought that you could do with that is if people were looking to outsource, they could actually tell their 3 vendors of choice or 4 to upload their content and information and have you do the legwork to actually verify that these 3 companies were legit and worth their time. And then they could actually vet it through your site because you would do all that work. So that would save me and my company or anybody else a lot of time because you're doing the legwork. So you could actually say you're going to tender. Why don't you have your 5 companies pitch? They can run it through my site, and I'll take care of the legwork and verify that they're actually who they say they are and they're worth the time and money. And then that way you go back and that solves 3/4 of the legwork. No problem. Yeah, that's good, right? Cool. Well, you know what? That's it, guys. And I want to say thank you very much to everybody for coming tonight. I think we had an awesome turnout, great event. A lot of 5 companies that were really awesome. I enjoyed listening to everybody. Hopefully you guys did. I do want to thank our sponsors, Flow Water, which hopefully you guys have all tried. They're a great company. They came in and pitched, I think it was show 3 or something to that effect. And Hardboot, which is my custom software company. I'm told to say these things because I always feel weird promoting, but either way, that's us. And we take care of all the wine and everything else. And the best part is the lodge. So where we are right now, Diane and Ron, thank you very much for being awesome hosts. And outside of that, guys, you can check all the content on opn.ninja, which is running all of this live feed. Share it around the meetup groups there as well. And we look forward to having you guys next month. And there'll be a lot more cool stuff coming out in the next little while. So we look forward to seeing you guys again. So feel free to network, have a glass of wine, and enjoy the night. And thank you to all of the great people that helped put this together, too. Thank you. Tim, Caesar, Megan, Brian, everybody.